Imagine challenging a billionaire's empire with nothing but a feeling and winning. Imagine being told again and again that your instincts are emotional, irrational, unprofessional. Now imagine those same instincts exposing cracks in power so vast, so carefully hidden, that billions of dollars couldn't hold them together. This is the story of how a quiet woman's intuition dismissed, minimized, and disrespected, outmaneuvered wealth, arrogance, and a system never built to hear her voice. This is her unseen weapon. We live in a world that worships numbers, data, metrics, forecasts, and in that world, intuition is often treated like superstition, especially when it comes from a woman. Even more so when that woman is Black. This story unfolds between two people who could not be more different. Amara Lewis, an African-American financial analyst based in New York City, brilliant, observant, quietly resilient, and Victor Hale, a white self-made billionaire, architect of Hale Dominion Group, a global empire spanning private equity, infrastructure, and emerging markets. Victor believed intelligence was loud. Amara understood it often whispered. What followed wasn't a public battle. There were no headlines screaming conflict, no explosive confrontations, just a slow, deliberate unraveling, powered by something Victor Hale never learned to respect. Victor Hale liked control. At 56, he had mastered the art of dominance disguised as discipline. His office, 40 stories above Manhattan, was glass, steel, and silence. Victor told himself the silence meant order. From his perspective, the world made sense. Markets rose because he predicted them. Competitors failed because they lacked nerve. And success, real success, belonged to those bold enough to take it. He believed bias was a word people used when they couldn't compete. And deep down, though he'd never say it aloud, Victor believed something else. That people like Amara Lewis were meant to execute, not question. 3 floors below Victor's office, Amara Lewis worked in a different reality. She had learned early how to disappear in plain sight. Speak carefully. Never be too intense. Never be too sensitive. Never be too confident. Because Black women in corporate spaces are rarely allowed to be all 3. Amara noticed everything. Who interrupted whom? Whose ideas were praised after being repeated by someone else? Whose concerns were labeled negative instead of insightful? She wasn't imagining it. She was navigating it. And that awareness sharpened her instincts. The day Hale Dominion announced the Lisbon acquisition, the room buzzed with excitement. Portugal, infrastructure, fast timelines, even faster profits. Applause echoed across the boardroom. Everyone clapped. Everyone except Amara. She felt it immediately. A tightening in her chest. A pause she couldn't explain. The numbers were flawless, but the story didn't line up. When she spoke, softly, respectfully, the room froze. Victor Hale smiled. Not cruelly, not angrily, politely. That was worse. Feelings don't move markets, he said. Facts do. The message beneath the words was clear. Your intuition is not welcome here. No one used slurs. No one raised their voice. But bias doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers through dismissal, through who is believed and who is tolerated. Amara returned to her desk, knowing something important. If she were wrong, she'd be forgotten. If she were right, she'd still be ignored. So she followed her instinct anyway. At night, in her Brooklyn apartment, Amara worked alone. Not louder, not harder, just differently. She read local policy drafts, tracked language changes, listened to what wasn't being said. Each detail alone meant nothing. Together, they formed a warning. She submitted a memo. It stalled. It disappeared. 2 weeks later, the deal closed. 6 months after that, regulatory delays froze everything. Victor blamed timing. The board blamed politics. No one blamed intuition. Amara wrote one line in her notebook. Pattern confirmed. If this story already feels familiar, if you've ever watched your insight dismissed while someone else took credit, pause right now and subscribe to Melanin Chronicles. This channel exists to tell the stories power tried to overlook and couldn't. Victor Hale didn't slow down. He expanded. Singapore, Sao Paulo, Johannesburg. To Victor, speed meant strength. But Amara saw something else. Victor moved when markets were loud, but markets shifted in silence. She started mapping emotions, fear disguised as optimism, confidence masking uncertainty. Her colleagues laughed. "You can't measure vibes," one joked. Amara didn't respond. She trusted what her experience had taught her. Survival sharpens perception. Then came Project Atlas, Silicon Valley, tech infrastructure, Victor's legacy play. The media called it unstoppable. Amara felt dread. Engineers avoided eye contact. Legal teams rushed approvals. Executives spoke in absolutes. She asked for a meeting with Victor. This time, he listened, barely. "You're talented," he said, "but intuition doesn't beat empires." Amara met his gaze. "No," she replied calmly, "but it reveals their blind spots." Victor dismissed her, but something lingered. 3 weeks later, Amara resigned. No speeches, no drama, just a quiet exit. Victor barely noticed. But what Victor didn't see, what he never learned to see, was positioning. Amara joined a small firm specializing in risk anticipation. They weren't loud, they were patient, and they listened. When Project Atlas faced scrutiny, Amara's firm was ready. They moved first. They moved quietly. They moved correctly. Hale Dominion hesitated, and hesitation was something Victor had never practiced. Within 18 months, confidence eroded. Deals stalled. Influence faded. Victor didn't fall publicly. His empire simply thinned. One night, Victor read a market analysis. The author, Amara Lewis. Every shift is predicted. Every outcome is mapped. For the first time, Victor questioned not his strategy, but his certainty. He hadn't lost to intuition. He had lost to arrogance. If this story reminds you that resilience is intelligence and that unseen wisdom reshapes history, subscribe to Melanin Chronicles, because the stories that matter most are often the ones power never saw coming. Victor Hale had billions. Amara Lewis had intuition sharpened by survival. One believed power was dominance. The other knew power was awareness. And in the end, the empire didn't fall to force. It fell to the voice it refused to hear. Because the most dangerous thing to underestimate. She is a woman who has already learned how to see. This is Melanin Chronicles,